I will be going over a brief introduction of fungi and later on its structural characteristics, starting with fungi cell types. Fungi are composed of eukaryotic cells, which have a true nucleus and membrane bound organelles. Their cell walls contain a unique substance called chitin, distinguishing them from plants, which have cell walls made of cellulose. While fungi come in a variety of forms, such as yeast, molds, and mushrooms, they all maintain this basic structural composition. Unlike plants, fungi cannot perform photosynthesis. They are heterotrophic, meaning they obtain their nutrients by absorbing organic compounds from their environment. This makes them essential decomposers in ecosystems, breaking down dead organic matter and recycling nutrients. As just discussed, fungi play a crucial role in ecosystems as decomposers and also as partners in symbiotic relationships. Excuse me. As decomposers, they break down complex organic materials, returning nutrients to the soil and supporting plant growth. Additionally, many fungi form beneficial relationships with plants, aiding in nutrient absorption, ultimately benefiting their ecosystem. While fungi can be incredibly beneficial to ecosystems, biotechnology, and medicine, some fungi can cause diseases in plants and animals. Common fungal infections include athlete's foot, fungal nail infection, and ringworm. More serious infections, such as aspergillosis or cryptococcosis, can affect the lungs, brain, or bloodstream, especially in individuals with weakened immune systems. Fungi play a massive role in medicine and biotechnology through discovery of revolutionary enzymes and bioremediation. The discovery of penicillin from the mold Penicillium chrysogenum revolutionized antibiotics and medical treatments. Additionally, the use of fungi in bioremediation helps clean up environmental pollutants. Moving on to fungi structural characteristics. As mentioned prior, fungi are eukaryotic organisms with distinct structural features that set them apart from plants and animals. Their cells contain membrane bound organelles, including a nucleus, and are typically enclosed by a rigid cell wall composed of chitin, a strong polysaccharide. Most fungi exist as multicellular filaments called hyphae, which collectively form a network known as mycelium, the main vegetative structure of fungi. Some fungi, like yeasts, are unicellular and reproduced by a process called budding. Similarly, some fungi can have multiple nuclei per cell, which is commonly found in coenocytic hyphae. Fungi's mode of nutrition is heterotrophic, relying on external digestion via enzymes that break down organic matter. Growth forms of fungi include hyphae, mycelium, and yeasts. Fungal hyphae might be septate, which is divided by cross walls, or coenocytic, which is lacking septa, forming a continuous cytoplasmic mass. And yeasts are unicellular fungi that produce by budding or fission, lacking hyphal structures. These structural traits enable fungi to thrive in diverse environments and play crucial ecological roles as decomposers, symbionts, and pathogens.
Fungi reproduce by spores, and this can happen either sexually or asexually depending on the species and environment. Spores are the main reproductive units of fungi. They're very small, lightweight, and can spread easily through wind, water, or even by animals, which allows fungi to colonize new areas very quickly. In asexual reproduction, the offspring are genetically identical to the parent. This can occur through spore production, budding, or fragmentation, which is efficient for rapid growth. Sexual reproduction, on the other hand, involves the fusion of specialized reproductive cells, like gametes or hyphae. This process increases genetic variation, giving fungi a better chance to adapt in changing environments. Fungi play an important role in medicine and biotechnology. One of the most famous examples is penicillin, the first widely used antibiotic derived from fungi, which has saved millions of lives by treating bacterial infections. Another fungal product is cyclosporine, an immunosuppressant that helps prevent organ transplant rejection. Fungi are also key in biotechnology. Yeast, for example, is essential in producing insulin, vaccines, and many other pharmaceuticals through genetic engineering. Finally, fungi has given us statins, which are drugs that lower cholesterol levels and reduce the risk of heart disease. So fungi are not just important in ecosystems, but also really critical in modern medicine and human health.
Types of fungi. The first one is mold. Mold is a complex fungi that grow as a hyphae, reproduced by spores. The second one is yeast, unicellular fungi that reproduce by budding. Third one is mushrooms, large structured fungi with visible fruiting bodies. And then we have lichens, symbiotic partnership between fungi and algae or cyanobacteria. And then the last one is smuts and rust, parasitic fungi that infect crops and plants.
Algae are photosynthetic organisms found in aquatic environments, and they're classified under the kingdom Protista. Examples can include algae blooms, seaweed, kelp, and pond scum. Algae are eukaryotic organisms, meaning that they contain a membrane-bound organelles and a membrane-bound nucleus. Algae are organisms that are photosynthesized, and they use sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water to release oxygen and to make their food. Most algae are unicellular, but they can be multicellular and can be a bunch of different shapes and sizes. Algae are also known to be photoautotrophs. Algae are non-vascular, meaning that they don't have roots to be able to transport their nutrients or their water. Since they don't have roots, they have something called a holdfast, which acts as an anchor so that they don't move and they don't get taken away by a current. And the body of the algae is called the thallus, which contains the holdfast, the stipe, and the blades. The blades are leaf-like and they help with photosynthesis, and the stipe serves as the structural support of the algae to keep it upright. The algae walls do contain cellulose and other substances, and they help to give the algae the shape. Since algae is eukaryotic, they do contain a nucleus, which has all the genetic material in it, the mitochondria, which breaks down all the food, and the chloroplasts, which perform the photosynthesis. Although most algae can be classified under the kingdom Protista, some algae are grouped with the bacteria group under Monaria. Examples can be like blue algae, and then algae are split into groups depending on their photosynthetic pigments, and there are 3 types of algae groups. There's brown, green, and red.
Algae reproduces in two main ways. Asexual reproduction, this involves one parent and produces identical offspring. Common methods include fragmentation. Algal body breaks into pieces, each growing into a new individual. Spore formation. Spore are released that grow into a new algae. Binary fission. A single cell split into 2. And then the other way is sexual reproduction. This involves the fusion of a male and a female gamete, leading into a genetic variation. This occurs through isogamy, similar gametes, anisogamy, unequal gametes, or ogamy, large egg, and small sperm.
I'm going to talk about the ecological role of algae, and algae is super important for many different reasons, but first, they're the primary producers and the foundation of the aquatic food chain. So this means that they provide essential nutrients and support for countless other organisms in themselves. But that's not all. They also help maintain the ecosystem balance and create habitats where many other creatures can live and thrive. They also recycle nutrients, which helps keep the water clean and healthy. And through photosynthesis, they are producing oxygen for aquatic life and for the whole world to breathe. Another really important thing is that they absorb carbon dioxide to help combat climate change. Not only is algae important for the ecosystems, but it's also important for our own health. So algae contains natural antibiotics with bioactive components to fight harmful bacteria, and some even have antiviral properties that can block viruses like HIV, herpes, and more. And algae, like spirulina, is edible and packed with nutrients to boost immunity and just overall health. And it also has anti-inflammatory powers because they have polysaccharides and fatty acids to help with chronic illnesses and combat heart disease and arthritis. Another thing is that algae is also used in skincare and wound healing, and it's incorporated in creams and gels with algae to speed up the recovery and keep skin healthy.
Fungi versus algae comparison. Fungi. The nutrition of fungi is heterotrophic, as they absorb nutrients by secreting enzymes and decomposing their food. The nutrition of algae is autotrophic. They make their own food using chlorophyll and are photosynthetic. Fungi lack photosynthetic pigments and have no chlorophyll. Algae contain a wide variety of pigments. They're all just chlorophyll, just different types, so chlorophyll A, B, C, and D. And algae's cell wall is made of cellulose, while fungi's cell wall is made of chitin. Enrolled view in nursing. Truly, I tell you, whether you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. We as future nurses should care for our patients because we treat them as reflective of how we would treat Jesus. Another quote is, "Whatever you do, whether the word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus." Being the best nurse for our patients, to feel safe and taken care of, should be what we strive for as Christians. And lastly, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Nurses should advocate for the safety of their patients and should strive for equality in the medical field.